Hello and welcome to StealthGTI. I'm Scott and today I'm going to share with you about my WeBoost cellular signal booster. Welcome back and thanks for being here. If you've been following my channel, then you know I just returned from a 7,200 mile coast-to-coast road trip. Check my playlist up here if you'd like to see more about that. When I was planning for this trip, I had recalled that during the New England trip, we had some pretty sparse cell phone coverage up in Vermont, some of the back roads that we were on. At the time in Vermont, we were navigating with a smartphone, and then of course we lost our signal, and I just used the force, right? I got through it all, but it was a little inconvenient, especially when I needed to initiate a new navigation. Google would not connect, and therefore Android Auto wouldn't work, and yeah, blah blah. If I was a real man, I'd use maps and all that other stuff. Anyway, I didn't get lost. I got back home. It was just a little inconvenient. So fast forward to this trip, and not only did I download maps so that everything would work, but I also wanted to maintain my LTE signal. I watch a lot of off-road channels and RV channels, and these WeBoost signal boosters are very popular among them because they travel in remote areas without any cell phone coverage. So I figured, why not me? So I went ahead and bought this and decided I'd give it a whirl. Now it retails for $500, so this isn't something you want to buy for just a short road trip, but it was something that I figured that I would use on subsequent trips. Sometimes I shop for RVs and sometimes I shop for off-road vehicles, and so this isn't something that's going to go to waste. This isn't a one and done product for me. So what this system does, it receives weak cellular signals and then brings them inside the car and amplifies them and then rebroadcasts the signals inside the car with a separate antenna. What it does not do is take no coverage and turn it into coverage. If there's not a signal to amplify, then this device will not do anything. I was watching a review that somebody was doing on it, and I was kind of surprised at what he claimed. He claimed that this will take a zero coverage area and turn it into coverage. He said it would take no signal and turn it into signal, and that's not really true. What you have to realize is that when you're sitting inside of a car, this is a metal box, and metal boxes are not conducive to radio waves, which is what a cell signal is. But when you have this antenna outside, it is receiving the signals. In fact, when you're driving down the road and you have zero signal, there's a fair chance that in some places you can actually stop the car, step out, and stand up with your cell phone in your hand, maybe even hold it up in the air, and you might receive a signal, maybe. If there is a signal to be received, not only might you receive it on your smartphone if you're outside the car, but certainly with this antenna being outside the car, it is a gain antenna, which means it's going to pull in some really small signals and then take said small signals and put them inside the car where now you are with your smartphone. So in that scenario, you're sitting in your car and you have zero signal. It's not that there's no signal at all necessarily, it's that the signal's not making it to inside the car. And so this antenna being outside the car will receive the signal. It's high gain, so it'll pull in a tiny signal, and as long as there's anything to be received, it will pull it in and then amplify it, and then there's a separate antenna inside the car. That's how it is possible to have zero coverage and turn it into quote-unquote full coverage. So let me show you how I've installed this. This antenna is made to fit on a 3/8 inch stud mount. And so what I did was, I can't remember how a lot of people do it, if they drill a hole or if they have, I think it came with a bracket, but I didn't use that bracket because I knew I wanted to put it on my roof rack. And so what I did was I got my hands on a 3/8 inch stud mount that's made for, say, a CB antenna or a ham radio antenna. I don't think most hams would use it, but that's what it's for. I got it, and then I drilled out a couple of mounting holes that would work with my roof rack. Mounted it here, I painted it black so it'd be pretty and everything. The mast here is actually hollow, and these masts, I want to say I've got 2 or 3 other sections, and so I can get it up to 36, I think it'll even go up to 48 inches. I'll post the right number up here. I might go one more one more mast height to get it up a little higher, because right now the antenna is not above my box. Now this box, being that's made out of plastic, it is RF transparent, but right now I have a spare tire sitting right here with, of course, they've got steel belted radials inside, and so that steel could act as an interference piece, and so I suppose I could benefit from having the antenna up just a little bit higher with this particular load. But if I had suitcases up here, that's not going to block anything. Anyway, back to the mounting. This mast here is hollow. The coax comes out the bottom of the mast, and then I slip it into the door here at the cargo rack mount. If I open the door, then you'll see that what I've done is I sandwiched the coax in between the door frame and this weather seal. And so it's shoved in there deeply enough to where it is further in, tucked in over the weather seal, and the door can still close and seal up against this weather seal. My main concern, the reason I did this, I could have just dropped the coax straight in and then fed it into the back seat or something, but then this would have become a pathway for rainwater. Doing it this way, the coax follows around the weather seal, and then it comes down here where it enters the door at the bottom of the door jamb. So the water will not travel up and into the car this way. It just dips in, and then the amplifier for the unit is up under this seat here. Now the amplifier is up under the driver's seat, and then the inside antenna, let's see if I can reach where I put it. The inside antenna is actually tucked right here, so you can barely see the bottom of it there. I'm not going to pull it all the way out, but this is all I did with it, right? Because my smartphone usually rests right there. So the idea is to have the inside antenna close to your phone. A lot of people will mount this, say, on the headrest, because that's what the assumption that they're going to hold the phone up to their head, and therefore the headrest would be a great place for that antenna. But in my case, since my phone rides there, I tuck my antenna right there so it's nice and close. And with my wife sitting in the passenger seat here, she's nice and close to it as well. Some practices to keep in mind if you get one of these. Cell phones, smartphones, they use a technology known as multi-in, multi-out. I think that's commonly referred to as MIMO. These phones, they have at least two antennas inside of them, and the phone will talk to towers on two different frequencies at the same time, and that's how they achieve such great bandwidth. Now, for some reason, I can't explain it because I'm not the engineer who designed this thing, but when you use this antenna amplifier, it is only amplifying one signal, not two. So it is said that, let's say you have a weak 4G signal from the tower and your phone is reading it, it is said that you will get a faster upload or download speed with a weak two signal MIMO signal than a strong single channel. You need to experiment to see which works for you. Do a test if you're stationary. That's easy. You just turn on the amplifier and see if your upload or download speeds change. If you're on the move, then I guess you have to experiment and see what works for you. Personally, I ran with this turned off the vast majority of the time during my trip, but there were a few times when I saw that 3G disappear, or maybe the LTE disappear, and I turned it on and saw an improvement. My improvement in low coverage areas could go from a marginal signal that is dropping cell phone calls to a good signal. Definitely zero signal to maybe a weak signal, unless there's absolutely nothing to be detected out there, or maybe a medium strength signal to a full strength signal. Whatever you can find out there, turning on the amplifier will help. Now, if you've already got a decent signal, say like a middle strength signal, and it says 4G, especially if it says 5G, then don't turn on this amplifier. It's not going to help you. But if you've got a weak signal, and especially if you're on the phone and you're trying to hang on that I call, go ahead and turn it on, and it should help. That has been my practice on the long road trip, and I've been pleased with it. I can't call it a miracle worker because I haven't spent a lot of time, say, stopped in a campground or BLM land with a very weak signal and I need to get work done. I was I was on vacation during this road trip, so if I didn't have coverage, I wasn't going to cry too much. So let me know if you have any questions. As always, I appreciate you being here, and I will see you next time. Take care.